Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing how long does it really take for your ex to start missing you? No contact insights. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Check out my socials for extra content. The links are in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing how long does it really take for your ex to start missing you? No contact insights. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you want to know when your ex will start missing you. But you don't want just averages or theories. You want to know actual examples. In today's podcast, I'll be discussing 3 actual dumpers' experiences of when they started missing their ex. And these people have given me permission to share their thoughts. And of course, I will protect their identity. So let's get straight into this. And point number 1 is person number 1. And person number 1 is a man. He's 35 years old and he dumped his ex roughly 5 months ago after a 2-year relationship. Now at this moment in time, he doesn't currently miss his ex and he contacted me due to frustrations he's having online dating. Now, if you're listening to this first example and thinking, well, that's not good, the first example that I've listened to is a dumper who doesn't even miss their dumpee. Well, I wanted to break this down about this situation. So like I said, person number 1 is a man. He's 35 years old and he contacted me not because he's trying to get his ex back, but because he's having frustrations through online dating. Now, if you're listening and worrying and thinking, well, this means he's never going to miss his ex. He's clearly moved on. He's trying to find a new connection. Well, this is actually very typical. When a dumper ends a relationship, they've done it because they've lost romantic emotional attraction. What that means is, when they break up, when they action that breakup, they're not thinking, I want to get my ex back. They're thinking, I want to move forward on a different path. That is very natural, it's very understandable. Every dumper who ends a relationship, if they are authentically breaking up with someone, are not planning on getting back together. That happens in the future. It doesn't always happen, but around 50% of the time, there will come a point where the dumper does want to reconnect with the dumpee. And of course, at that stage, the dumpee will have their say as well. But going back to point number 1, person number 1, their relationship, his relationship that he had with his ex, was 2 years, a 2-year relationship. And so far, he's 5 months or so post-breakup. He's concentrating on trying to date new people. Like I said, that's very, very natural, but he is struggling. He can't find a connection. He can't find anybody that fulfills him. That's why he contacted me for my audio coaching service to coach him through online dating. That is one of the things that I do in my audio coaching. It's not just about trying to get an ex back. It can be about trying to find a new partner as well. Online dating is, of course, very relevant in today's day and age of dating. But, and this is where it comes really important, he is struggling to find a new connection. Now, I'm helping him in the ways that he is asked to be helped. I'm helping him with his online dating profile. I'm helping him with my opinion regarding messages that he may send out or he may receive. But what is becoming clear is that he's just not finding that connection. It's not about him not getting enough matches. It's not about him not going on dates. It's about him not being able to find that connection. And I have asked him more than once now, have you found anybody who matches your ex? Bearing in mind that he ended the relationship, bearing in mind that he made that choice to break up with his now former partner, I've asked him, have you met anybody or spoke to anybody that you feel could be a better connection for you than your ex? And what he tells me is he initially thinks yes, but when he gets to know them, no. And this is typical. This is a classic example of how a dumper finds it difficult to find a new connection. Remember, we are 5 months or so post-breakup. This isn't 10 years down the line. This is within that first year. You would have heard me say in other podcasts, that first year, it's very unlikely indeed that the dumper is going to find a new connection which resonates with them as a better option than their dumpee. And this is what we're seeing here. So even though this man isn't saying to me, I want my ex back, what he is acknowledging is he can't find anybody who's better than his ex for him. At first, he might think he does. Maybe there is an initial spark, but as soon as he gets to know them, he realises they are no better than my ex. In fact, I'm feeling less for them than I did for my ex. He never wants to proceed. And it's at this point where I've kind of started to say to him, hey, have you reflected on your past relationship? And he's told me that he has, although he does try to suppress it in his own words because he just doesn't feel it's going to work. So when it crosses his mind, he tries not to think about it too deeply. Now, from my experience, this situation is likely to get to a point of where he does have to reflect much stronger than he is right now. Because currently, at the moment, he's managing to dodge it. He's managing to avoid that really heavy thinking. He thinks about it, but he doesn't really delve into it too deeply. From my experience, there comes a time where a dumper has to self-reflect. They have to look into that mirror. They have to actually spend the time and dedication to really dissect whether or not their life is better with or without their ex. This is what I believe person number one is approaching, because we're seeing a situation where they are moving forward through their life and they are not feeling fulfilled. They're not feeling the buzz of excitement of this journey because it's not going the way that he hoped. He reached out to me because he's not finding what he's looking for. And even with the support and guidance I'm giving him in the direction that he requests, yes, he's getting dates. Yes, he's speaking to lots of women, but he's not finding that match. And that is typical. That's understandable. It takes time. But I believe he's going to start strongly thinking about his ex more and more and more as time goes on. I'm not saying they'll get back together. I'm not even saying he will definitely reach out to her. But what I am saying is he will get to the stage where he can't avoid it anymore. You can't go hiding forever. Eventually, it catches up with you. And especially when your current life is not providing the satisfaction that you crave, you'll be more likely to get to that point sooner rather than later of when you do think back with depth. And I would not be surprised if one day he does actually start to miss his ex. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please like this video if you're watching on YouTube. And if you have the new hype feature, please hype this video as well. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is person number 2. So person number 2 is a woman. She's 46 years old and she dumped her ex 8 months ago after a 5-year relationship. She is starting to miss him, which is why she reached out to me, but she doesn't understand why, because he frustrated her within the relationship. So person number 2, the second dumper we're speaking about in today's podcast, is a woman. She's 46 years old. And like I said, she had a 5-year relationship. And this is now 8 months post-breakup. Now, she told me that she ended the relationship because during their connection, she was feeling frustrated by her partner. Her partner did things which annoyed her. And over time, this started to become unbearable to her. I don't believe there was anything major per se that took place, but it was the slow, grinding annoyances that he was doing, which she just did not find appealing, attractive, interesting. It got to the stage where she just didn't feel she could be within the same space as him. And unfortunately, that's how relationships sometimes end. It's not always about a big, huge moment. It can be the slow, frustrating grind, which sadly brings people down to the point of where they lose enough romantic emotional attraction that they want to action the breakup. But this person has reached out to me for audio coaching because they are confused. I'm confused, she says. I don't understand why I'm feeling like I'm starting to miss my ex, because I know deep down that he frustrated me. I know that being with him was annoying. I don't understand why, but I am starting to miss him. And this is a real interesting concept. why would you start to miss someone who annoyed you? You know they annoyed you. You've got no evidence they wouldn't annoy you in the future, and yet you're starting to miss them. Well, as I spoke to this person, I said, I believe you are feeling the effects of a fading effect bias. And that is the concept of where over time, negative memories fade sooner rather than positive memories. You don't forget the negative memories. You don't have them wiped from your mind, just as she doesn't have wiped from her mind the annoyances and the frustrations that her ex used to make her feel. She can remember those, but they're no longer a problem right now in her mind because she's starting to miss him. She misses him. And this is because she does remember the good times stronger. She remembers those times with more power. And this is what I'm saying to her. This isn't a bad thing, but this is what is likely happening. And even when she understands this concept, she's starting to feel stronger and stronger towards him. And as I brought up to her, I said, look, he may have changed. We don't know if he has changed. You will only know if he has changed if you reach out to him. Now, she hasn't got to the stage yet of making contact, but I think she will. She's telling me that she feels she wants to, but she doesn't understand why. And I'm encouraging her to follow her feelings. But if she does feel she'd like to reach out to him, if she's feeling authentic and genuine about seeing how things might go, wanting to see how he is, wanting to see how things might develop, I'm saying give it a chance. The worst thing that can happen is he says no or he doesn't reply. But he might be waiting, really, really hoping for this contact. Now, I don't know if he has changed, evolved, grown. I hope he has. Because if he hasn't, then if and when she does reach out to him, well, sadly, he might only get one chance of a second chance. And this is why I always say to people, make sure you live your life the right way, because you don't know what your ex is thinking precisely. You don't know exactly if and when they might want to reach out to you. And you need to be ready, because if you're not ready, if you're this guy, if you're this man listening right now, okay, and I know you wouldn't be able to know definitively that it is you, but just think of it that you listening right now are this person. It doesn't matter if you are or you aren't. It doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman. If you are in this position of where you have been dumped and you are thinking, I've not really grown, I've not really put in the effort, well, you need to, because you could have a former partner like this woman who is on the verge of reaching out to you. And if you don't take this opportunity, you will regret it. So please start growing, start evolving, become a version 2.0 of yourself, because you need to be ready. I can't guarantee your ex will contact you, but if they do and you haven't done the work, well, you might miss out on that one opportunity to reconnect. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is couple. So point number 3 is a couple. And this is a couple that I'm doing joint coaching with. You might not realize, but my audio coaching service can work with couples as well. Sometimes we actually do 3-way audio calls, or in other instances, I will have one audio call with one person, and then at a later time, an audio call with the other person. So I do work with couples. And point number 3 is a couple, and they are a man and a woman, and they are both 29 years of age. Now, she dumped him after he cheated on her. They had a 4-year relationship. He cheated, she found out, and she dumped him. Now, despite this, she didn't really want to dump him, but she felt she had to. She didn't want to end it, she didn't want to dump him, but she didn't think she had a choice because she found out that he had cheated on her. Now, 4 months later, she missed him enough to reach out to him and try and reconnect. And he was very happy to hear from her and did want to try and work things out. But they both agreed together that they would like to have coaching to try and increase the chance of this relationship growing and forming in a stronger way than it was before, so hopefully it doesn't end again. Now, it's been very interesting speaking to both partners here, because what I've learned is that he cheated because he felt she was no longer making an effort. Now, this is a bit of a cycle of doom that I have seen more than once. And this is where we have one partner who stops making an effort in a physical sense often. They're not looking their best. Maybe they've let themselves go in some regard. This could be a man or a woman, and they're not feeling their best, they're not looking their best, they're not being their best. What happens with their partner is their partner starts to lose physical attraction. When they start to lose physical attraction, unfortunately, some people in that position will be more inclined to look elsewhere. And even if they're not looking elsewhere, if an opportunity presents itself, they might find it harder to turn down. Hence, in this regard, this is why the cheating took place. He didn't plan on cheating on her. He is not a cheat by nature. I'm not defending him, but from what he has told me, it only happened because over time, he was losing more and more physical attraction for his partner to the point where he never really felt that physicality with her anymore. He did still love her in a mentality sense, you could say, in an emotional sense, but he didn't physically. And when he had an opportunity to be with someone that he found physically attractive, he couldn't turn that down. Now, I'm not defending him. I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying what he has told me. And I think it's really important for people to be as open as possible. Now, when this whole situation played out, of course, there was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of sadness and upset. The woman in this regard felt devastated. She found out she'd been cheated on, and then as things have progressed, she's found out why that actually happened, in his opinion, his explanation, and that has made her feel even worse. Now, I've been coaching both of these people. I've been coaching him about things that he needs to be doing to improve himself and to try and regain and rebuild that trust from his now partner they're trying to reform, remember? And the woman I've been speaking with and saying that, look, you don't have to accept anybody back that you don't trust. You know, it's really important you trust him. If you don't trust him, you can't live your life with him any longer. And he understands that. Two people can't be together that don't trust one another. However, we need to try and grow as people. And he needs to grow as a person, and so does she. She needs to be living as healthy a life as she can. If she does, the byproduct of that would be she would be more naturally physically attractive. If he is feeling more attracted to her, if her confidence is growing, then that is going to make them stronger as a couple. Again, I'm not defending him cheating, but we have to try and look at the core situation, the core reasons as for what has gone wrong. He lost physical attraction, so there is no point in them being together again unless he feels physically attractive. If she wants to be with him, then she needs to work on herself in that regard. However, she doesn't have to take him back, because she can find someone, I would say, even better in regards to someone who has not cheated on her. She can do that. She can find that. She can grow her self-esteem. And it might get to the point where she grows as a person. He does find her attractive again, but then she decides, you know what, I'm going to find somebody who hasn't cheated on me. Now I'm going to find somebody new. This is the risk that he has here. You know, he is trying to reconnect after cheating with her. But the fact is, she didn't really want to dump him. She didn't really feel she wanted to take that step. She did, and now she wants to try and make things work. So I'm very hopeful that both of them can find their way here. And it's really important to understand every dynamic is somewhat different. Every situation is unique. But as you can see in this regard, the woman who ended the relationship, she started to miss him after 4 months. And we can see that at that point, it drew her closer, even though he cheated on her, and she decided to reach out.